Imagine stepping outside one evening and seeing the sky split open, not with fireworks, not with the aurora, but with a massive glittering ring stretching across the heavens. A ring so enormous it casts a shadow over entire continents. Earth, once a simple blue and green globe, now wears a celestial crown like Saturn, spinning silently above our heads. The sunlight hits it just right, and suddenly day and night blur together. Shadows stretch unnaturally long. Nights, instead of fading into darkness, glow with the pale, eerie light reflected off trillions of icy particles circling the planet. Streets, mountains, oceans, everything is bathed in a surreal, shifting silver haze. But it's not just beautiful, that glimmering ring brings danger. Tidal forces surge unpredictably, sending oceans lashing against coastlines, triggering storms the likes of which humans have never survived. Volcanic activity could spike as the planet's crust flexes under new gravitational pressures. Satellites, already precarious, are torn from orbit like toys in a cosmic tug of war. The night sky becomes a minefield. Every falling fragment could be a potential catastrophe. This isn't science fiction, it's a scientifically plausible scenario. The Earth's rotation, its orbit, even life itself, would struggle to adapt. And you'd be living through a world reshaped by cosmic mechanics you only thought you understood. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your question below. So what if Earth actually had a ring system like Saturn? Not just a faint line in the sky, but a colossal band of ice, rock, and dust stretching tens of thousands of kilometers around the planet. At first glance, it would seem mesmerizing. A constant spectacle, a silver and gold ribbon suspended in space. But the science behind it is far more than just a pretty view. Rings form when objects orbit a planet in a delicate gravitational dance. Saturn's rings are made of icy particles left over from shattered moons or comets. If Earth had a similar system, these particles would orbit in a flat disk around our equator, constantly reflecting sunlight and occasionally colliding, sending showers of debris into the atmosphere. The implications are staggering. Light patterns would change dramatically, days might feel longer or shorter in unpredictable ways depending on the ring's density and tilt. Satellite technology, astronomy, and even navigation would face unprecedented challenges. But the most interesting part? How this would affect life itself, from tides to climate, and possibly even human evolution over centuries. In this video, we'll explore the science behind what would happen if Earth had a ring system. We'll examine the immediate impacts, the environmental chain reactions, and the long-term consequences for our planet. Buckle up, because the rings would turn Earth into a whole new world, beautiful, dangerous, and utterly alien. The first and most immediate consequence of Earth having a massive ring system would be a dramatic change in daylight and shadows. Imagine a ring thick enough to reflect sunlight back onto the surface. Even during daytime, areas under the ring's shadow could be plunged into partial darkness, while the reflected light from the ring creates ghostly illuminations in other regions. This is similar to how the moon reflects sunlight at night, but on a colossal scale. Cities might see artificial ring light that never turns off, affecting human sleep cycles and animal behavior. Next comes tidal chaos. Earth's tides are already governed by the moon's gravity, but add a massive ring of orbiting ice and rock, and suddenly there's a new gravitational influence. The ring's gravity would tug at oceans differently depending on its density and orientation. Coastal regions might face extreme tidal fluctuations, with daily floods and retreats far beyond anything we see today. Scientists refer to these as supertides, and history shows that rapid changes in tides can devastate ecosystems. Imagine mangroves uprooted, coral reefs destroyed, and fish populations collapsing almost overnight. The sky itself would become a dangerous place. Collisions among ring particles are constant. Most fragments are small, but occasionally larger chunks could fall toward Earth. These could range from tiny meteor-like burns to devastating fireballs. While Earth's atmosphere would destroy many smaller pieces, larger fragments could cause catastrophic impacts, similar to the Tunguska event of 1908, but potentially much more frequent. Even more mind-bending is the effect on satellites and space travel. The ring particles would make low Earth orbit nearly impossible to navigate. Communications, weather satellites, and GPS systems could fail, and space exploration would be riddled with constant hazards. In essence, the ring wouldn't just be a passive spectacle, it would reshape life on Earth, altering the very physics of our oceans, our skies, and our technology. The planet would feel alive in a new way, beautiful, but constantly threatening. Beyond the immediate chaos of light and tides, the Earth's ring system would trigger profound environmental changes. One of the most noticeable effects would be on climate and weather patterns. The ring would act like a massive, partially reflective shield in the sky, scattering sunlight unevenly across the globe. Some regions might experience scorching heat as sunlight is concentrated by the ring, while others plunge into cooler shadows. This would disrupt jet streams, alter rainfall patterns, and potentially intensify storms. Hurricanes and cyclones could grow stronger or change direction unpredictably, making forecasting nearly impossible. Step by step, the chain reaction would escalate. As certain areas receive less sunlight, ecosystems would struggle. Plants rely on sunlight for photosynthesis, so forests and grasslands in the shadowed regions might weaken, reducing oxygen production and food availability for herbivores. Predators would face scarcity, and human agriculture could fail in some regions while booming in others, creating extreme imbalance. The ring would also affect volcanic and tectonic activity. Its gravitational pull, combined with tidal forces, would put extra stress on Earth's crust. Fault lines might slip more often, triggering earthquakes and eruptions in areas previously considered stable. Imagine a world where volcanic ash clouds appear not just from the ring's reflected sunlight heating the atmosphere, but also from increased tectonic stress planes grounded, cities covered, skies dimmed by ash haze. Even our oceans would be in turmoil. The ring's gravitational influence could generate waves higher than any tsunami in recorded history, sweeping across continents and reshaping coastlines. Marine life would be forced to migrate. Coral reefs could bleach rapidly from changing light patterns, and ocean currents might shift dramatically, affecting global temperatures and weather stability. The Earth would essentially become a planet on constant alert, where every natural system air, water, land, and life is caught in a delicate, often dangerous dance orchestrated by the magnificent but unforgiving ring above. Over the long term, Earth's ring system would redefine the planet entirely, reshaping its environment, ecosystems, and even human survival strategies. Decades and centuries after the ring forms, the constant gravitational tugging and reflected light would alter our planet in ways both subtle and extreme. First, consider ecological collapse. Areas trapped in the ring's shadow would experience reduced sunlight for photosynthesis. Forests, grasslands, and crops in these regions could decline sharply, triggering a cascading effect through the food chain. Herbivores would struggle, predators would starve, and humans might face localized famines unless technology compensates for the uneven distribution of resources. Conversely, regions constantly illuminated by reflected sunlight might see excessive heat and drought, forcing populations to migrate or adapt in extraordinary ways. Next, the geological impacts would intensify. The constant gravitational pull of billions of orbiting particles would stress Earth's crust, potentially accelerating tectonic plate movements. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and tsunamis could become more frequent and severe. Over centuries, coastlines might be permanently reshaped, mountains shifted, and new rift valleys formed. The Earth's surface would become far less predictable, forcing humans and wildlife to adapt to a dynamically unstable planet. Space itself would remain hazardous. Low Earth orbit would become littered with ring debris, making satellites vulnerable and space exploration nearly impossible. Yet, for those daring enough to navigate the orbital hazards, the ring could offer new opportunities: a resource rich collection of ice and rock for mining, or an awe inspiring canvas for future colonization concepts. Finally, there's the psychological and cultural impact. Humanity would live under a permanent reminder of cosmic forces beyond our control, with a celestial spectacle that inspires wonder, fear, and humility simultaneously. Life on Earth would endure, but it would be radically transformed, beautiful, violent, and utterly alien. In the end, a ring around Earth wouldn't just be a spectacle, it would be a planet altering experiment in physics, biology, and survival. The Earth we know would cease to exist, replaced by a world both magnificent and merciless. To summarize, if Earth had a ring system like Saturn, our planet would transform in ways both stunning and perilous. From the very first moment, light and shadow would dance across the surface in eerie, unpredictable patterns. Tides would surge beyond imagination, storms would intensify, and falling ring debris could pose constant threats. Satellites and space travel would face near impossible challenges, reshaping human technology and exploration forever. The environmental consequences would ripple through every ecosystem. Sunlight would be unevenly distributed, triggering plant die offs, shifting animal populations, and dramatic climate changes. Oceans would surge, tectonic activity would spike, and weather systems would become chaotic. Over decades and centuries, Earth's landscapes could permanently shift. Coastlines eroded, mountains altered, and volcanic regions expanded. Humanity and wildlife alike would have to adapt to a planet in constant flux. Yet, amid this chaos, there would be extraordinary beauty. The rings would create a celestial spectacle unlike anything in our solar system, casting shimmering light across deserts, oceans, and forests. The sky itself would become an ever-present reminder of the delicate balance of cosmic forces, both mesmerizing and terrifying. Ultimately, a ringed Earth would be a planet of extremes: magnificent, dangerous, and utterly alien. It would challenge our understanding of physics, ecology, and survival, forcing life to adapt in ways we can barely imagine. And as you look up at the sky in this thought experiment, one question remains. Would humanity endure under such a cosmic crown? Or would the ring slowly rewrite the story of life itself?